Welcome to the match. Like and subscribe for more chess excitement. Control of the center with d4, preparing to develop other pieces and creating space for the bishop to potentially pin on black's knight on f6.
Control of the center with the knight, preparing to develop other pieces and potentially creating a pin on the bishop.
Pawn to c4 is the best move.
Preparing to control the center with the pawn on f5, and supporting the development of the rest of the pieces, while also slightly weakening the kingside pawn structure.
Pawn to c4 is the best move.
Preparing to develop the queenside pawns and control the pawn to d5 square, while also eyeing the kingside and potential pins on the f-pawn.
Pawn to e4 is best. This offers a trade.
Bishop to e7 is good. This develops a bishop. Bishop to b7 is best. This defends a rook on e8. This attacks the pawn. This develops a bishop. This fianchettos the bishop by putting it on a powerful diagonal.
Developing the knight to a strong central square, preparing to control the pawn to d5 square and potentially pinning the black knight on d7.
I played pawn to d5 to challenge black's control of the center and prepare to develop my pieces. This move also pins black's knight on f6, putting pressure on the pawn to d5 square and limiting black's mobility.
Pawn to e5 is the best move.
Knight from file f to d7.
Attacking the kingside pawn structure, pawn to h4 aims to challenge black's control of the kingside and prepare for potential pawn breaks on the queenside.
Pawn to h6.
Bishop to e3 is best.
I played bishop to a6 to pin the bishop on b7, preparing to develop the queenside pieces and control the pawn to d5 square. This move also weakens black's pawn structure on the queenside, creating potential weaknesses.
Control of the center, preparing to develop other pieces and putting pressure on black's position. The pawn to c4 push also pins black's knight on c6, creating a potential weakness.
I played pawn captures on c4 to challenge black's control of the center and create space for my pieces to develop. The pawn to c4 pawn also pins black's knight on c6, putting pressure on the pawn to d5 pawn and preparing for potential pawn breaks on the queenside.
Knight captures on c4.
Bishop to b7.
Bishop to d3.
Knight to c6 is best. This develops a knight.
Pawn to a3.
Pawn to b5 is the best move.
Knight from file c to d2 is best.
Pawn to a6.
Rook to c1 pinning the knight on b6, preparing to launch a potential attack on the kingside, while also supporting the central pawn structure.
Knight to b6 is best.
Rook to h3 is the best move.
I played knight to d5 to attack black's pawn on d5, creating a pin on black's knight on d7, forcing him to move it and potentially weakening his pawn structure.
I played bishop to b1 to prepare for the potential pin on black's knight on f6, while also supporting the central pawn structure and preparing to develop the rest of the pieces. This move also puts pressure on black's position and prepares for a potential attack on the kingside.
Knight to ba.
Attacking the kingside pawn structure, knight to e4 pins the knight on g7, preparing to develop the rest of the pieces and potentially creating a weakness in the kingside.
Knight to d7.
Bishop to d2.
Knight from rank 5 to b6 is the best move.
Bishop to a5 is good. Knight to h2 is best.
Knight from rank 7 to b6 is good. This offers a trade. Knight from rank 5 to b6 is best. This offers a trade.
Knight from file f to d2 is best.
Knight to f4 is good. This attacks the pawn. Bishop to a8 is best.
Queen to g4 is the best move.
Bishop to g5 is a strong move attacking black's kingside pawn structure and preparing to develop the rest of the pieces. It also pins black's knight on f4, gaining a strategic advantage.
Pawn to g3.
Knight from file f to d5 is the best move.
Pawn to f4 is best. This attacks the bishop.
Attacking the knight on f4, preparing to develop the rest of the pieces and putting pressure on black's position, while also eyeing the pawn on f4.
Queen to e2.
Queen captures on d4 is inaccuracy. A bishop can be captured by a lower value piece. A chance to attack a knight with f5 was missed. This permits the opponent to attack a piece. The opponent can play bc3. Pawn to f5 is inaccuracy. This move leaves knight hanging on f3. A bishop can be captured by a lower value piece. A chance to attack a knight with pawn to f5 was missed. This permits the opponent to attack a piece. The opponent can win at tempo. The opponent can play h6.
Pawn captures on g5 is inaccuracy. This move leaves pawn and pawn hanging on b12 and f5. This move leaves pieces vulnerable to a fork. A chance to attack a queen with bc3 was missed. This permits the opponent to attack a piece. The opponent can win a tempo. The opponent can play qx b2. Bishop to c3 is best. This defends pawn on b2. This attacks the queen.
Knight from file e to c4 is a clever move, pinning the knight on pawn to b6 and preparing to develop the queenside pieces, while also putting pressure on black's position with the knight on c4, creating a strong initiative.
Bishop to c3.
Queen to d5, pinning the black knight on d5, preparing to launch a potential attack on the black king, while also putting pressure on the black pawn on f.
Knight captures on c4 is best. This is a trade.
Knight captures on c4.
Pawn captures on h6.
Rook captures on h6 is the best move.
Preparing to develop the queenside pieces and putting pressure on black's position, rook to d1 is a solid move that supports the central pawn storm and prepares to potentially launch a queenside attack.
Queen to c6 is best.
Kingside castle is excellent. Rook to f1 is best. This develops a rook. By placing the rook on an open file, it controls important columns.
Rook to d8 is the best move.
Queen to f2.
Queen captures on f2, check.
Rook captures on f2.
Rook captures on h5 is the best move.
Rook to h2 is best. This offers a trade. This attacks the rook. By placing the rook on an open file, it controls important columns. This move gains a tempo.
Rook captures on h2.
King captures on h2 is a decisive blow, pinning black's knight on pawn to h7 and gaining a strong initiative. The king is safely tucked away, and the pawn structure is now favorable for a potential rook and pawn storm.
I played pawn to c5 to challenge black's pawn structure and prepare for potential pawn breaks on the queenside. The move also pins black's knight on c6, making it difficult for them to maneuver.
Pawn to b3.
Knight captures on a 3.
Knight to d6 check. The game is over. White wins.